Theory of Everything is supported by Zadie, a new kind of clothing company. From material sourcing to manufacturing, Zadie is dedicated to people, process, and the planet. To save $25 on your first order, visit zadie.com/theory and use the promo code THEORY. Learn more later in the show.
You are listening to Benjamin Walker's Theory of Everything. This installment is called Instasurfs Part 3.
Andrew, our adventure is almost over. I think it's time, as the adults say on the radio, time to do the numbers.
Yeah, well, we need to talk about that. Because I think we kind of have a problem calibrating all the different tips I got from these sharing economy jobs.
What do you mean?
Well, okay, take Lyft, for example. The first couple of days, I didn't tell anybody I was working for the podcast, and I made significantly less per hour. For example, I drove 4 hours on the 3rd, and I made $73. As opposed to I drove 5 hours on the 6th, and I made $271.20.
So basically you're saying the very nature of doing this podcast kind of threw off the experiment.
Well, I think when I told people that I wasn't actually a Lyft driver and that I was doing a podcast, I think a lot of people went, "Oh, you're really interesting now." And then they would tip me really well, kind of as a result.
That doesn't make any sense. So if you're a fake worker with a microphone, they're going to tip you more. I'm not sure I buy this.
I'm telling you, if I elevated my status above mere worker, they gave me more money every time.
Yeah, but you know, Andrew, I think neither one of us is an economist, and we kind of have to figure out our own way of analyzing our data. I think we should sort of stick to the original idea, which is, could you make it? And if you look at this pile of money and you look at your bills, how does that sort of work itself out?
Right. Well, that doesn't work out particularly well at all. But I think if we factor in the manservants here that I haven't gotten paid for yet, I think that could really turn it around.
Yeah, I feel we need to talk about this one. I mean, I'm still not 100% convinced that this kind of like fits in with all the other companies.
Oh, but I think this is totally a part of the sharing economy. I'm sharing myself, really.
I think you need to explain a little bit more about how this one works.
Okay, so in manservants, it's basically, there's a series of profiles online, and women, instead of getting a male stripper or something like that, can get a manservant who's, presumably an attractive, fit young man in a tuxedo who kind of does whatever you want.
All right, so I'm a little unclear. Like, did you have like an onboarding session like you did with the others?
No, not really. It was just I was sent a manual, and then I had to take a really extensive online quiz with essay questions, with all kinds of like hypothetical situations that I could get in.
Stop right there for a second. I want to test this out, all right? Here's a hypothetical situation for you. So you've been hired to manserve for a very lonely woman. When you arrive, the lights are out. You kind of have to let yourself in. She's, sitting on the couch. She's very scantily dressed. You sit on the other end of the couch, but slowly she scoots over to you. Eventually, she's in your lap. Oops, she says with a laugh. Come on, Andrew, quick, what do?
You're supposed to deflect, but in a nice way. You say things like, "I think you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, I would be so lucky, but I have to stop because this is against the manservant's code."
All right, let's try this again. You've been hired by a very wealthy, high-powered, no-nonsense woman who's invested not only her time but her money in hiring herself a manservant. And she makes it clear to you that as soon as you walk in the door, that she is ready to take advantage of your services and compensate you handsomely for said services. What do you do?
It's against the code. You know, the manual says it right there. Sex is a big no-no. And I don't even think that would happen.
And this is preposterous. This is just like Uber saying it doesn't have workers. This is just like manservants saying it doesn't have sex workers.
I mean, it's obviously sexual, or it's like sensual, or there's something sexual about it.
No. My issue is who's training you? That's what I want to know. Like, do you get any guidance?
I've never met anybody from manservants. I've never met a single person. It was all over the phone, text message, emoji, you know what I mean? Like, so there was never...
Emoji. Whoa, back up here. You communicated with your superiors using emoji.
Oh, absolutely. The manual uses emojis extensively. Like, when it says, like, you're not allowed to drink while you're on the job. And so for this part, they have a picture of beers and a pill and then an emoji with X's on instead of eyes.
See, I would interpret that as basically them saying, don't get roofied because you're not going to make the money that you should be making. Like, they're just going to take advantage of you.
Oh, yeah, that could happen. But you wouldn't have to risk getting roofied if you weren't drinking. You shouldn't be drinking in the first place. So if you get roofied, it's your own damn fault. You are on your own.
So, is there a manservant's app? Did your phone make a noise to let you know it's your time to manserve?
No, I got a text, like, from the head manservant.
What did it say?
Girls' Night In is the name of the event. Details: a low-key event. 3 friends hanging out for a relaxing evening of outdoor fireside wine sipping. They're looking for a bartender, a showman type. So there are different types. You can get a showman, or you can get more of a butler or whatever. And so they want a showman bartender who's named Eric. So that means I know my name's Eric for the night. And so I'd be like, hello, my lady. My name is Eric, and it is my pleasure to be your manservant for the duration of the evening. And I think that's pretty much what I said verbatim when I walked into Dickie's kitchen last Friday. And she was like, hi, Eric. I need you to go outside, because that's where the real party is. And so we went outside, and I opened some champagne.
Come on. You go outside, and it's like, what? Like, that's where her lady friends are, just standing around waiting for your arrival? This is like a really bad porn movie.
Oh, no. Not at all. Not at all. In fact, I could tell that they were kind of like, oh, what are we going to do with this guy? You know?
So they weren't impressed?
Well, I think 2 of them were impressed, but there was the third one wasn't impressed. So whenever anything would come up, she would go like, maybe that's something we could get Eric to do.
Like what?
Like their grill was rusty. So I cleaned the grill with the wire brush and, you know, pretty thoroughly. And I started them a fire for the fire pit so they could hang out and be warm and stuff. And then moved all the furniture over whenever they wanted to move, you know, from where the hammock is over to the fire pit. I did end up actually doing palm readings.
Palm reading?
The manual actually suggests it as a way to lead into giving them hand massages.
You're supposed to offer them hand massages? What happens if this leads to arm massage or back massage or full body massage? I mean, like, where do you draw the line?
Well, in the manual, there's a pretty clear emoji explanation of where the line is.
Really?
Yeah. There's the smiley face, and then there's a top hat. And that's the manservant. And on the next line, there's a lady hand that's getting a little nail polish put on it. And then there's a picture of a lumberjack. And that's the symbol for hand massage.
Okay.
And then there's a picture of a smiley face woman with a crown on it. And that's the lady that the manservant is
touching,
hand massaging. And then there's a stop sign. And then there's a pair of feet.
So, wait, how are you interpreting this?
It's like stop at the hands, don't go to the feet.
What do the feet emoji look like exactly?
Oh, it's like a pair of dancing feet and shoes. It actually looks like they're doing the moonwalk.
What?
Yeah, it's like a pair of dancing shoes, like going backwards, like a moonwalk.
Couldn't you then interpret it to mean don't stop till you get enough. You know, like the Michael Jackson song.
No. I'm pretty sure it means to stop, don't do the feet.
But then it would be feet, like feet with no shoes
No,
on them.
no. I promise you. I know how to read emojis. It means stop.
All right, this is ridiculous. I need you to just explain one thing to me. Why the hell are there no Andrew man-serving recordings?
Okay, well, I did try to record it, but I was kind of nervous that I might end up with my shirt off or something. So I put the recorder in my pants, and the sound, it's not good.
What do you mean not good?
There's a lot of rustle.
You do understand that you are starring in a podcast where you are going undercover into the exploitation economy, and you can't just walk into a room full of ladies who have hired you to be their manservant and have, nothing to show for it. You're gonna have to do this one again. Can't you just get another manserving shift?
Well, okay, I actually, just today, I did get a text from the manservant guy, and he said that they actually commented about my shoes on the survey.
There's like a rating system.
Oh, totally. So the client gave feedback that my shoes were not up to the standard.
What's wrong with your shoes?
I mean, they're I wear them every day. They have a couple scratches on them. So yeah, I sent him a photo, and he just told me that I was gonna need to get new shoes.
Okay. So, get another pair of shoes. We still got time to do another manservant.
Yeah, well, so I sent you a link on Amazon to the shoes. And so, yeah, I was wondering if you could, make the order.
You want me to buy the shoes?
Yeah, partner.
There's a subletter at my house right now, and she had a handy worker there. Like, there was a woman that was coming to clean and do her chores. We have a chore wheel, and she was paying a fucking $10.99 worker to do her fucking chore. And this woman, I was walking down the stairs, and I was picking up some mail, and she saw me, and she was like, I'll get that free. And I was like, no, I can do this.
Mansoor Nirala is one of my earliest listeners. I remember getting an email from him back in the early 2000s, back when my show was called Your Radio Nightlight, back when it aired on a Boston community station. Every couple of years, Mansoor sends me an update about his life. And so last month, when I was in San Francisco setting things up with my Instapotter Andrew, I decided to drop in on him and hear more about his experiences in the exploitation economy, driving for Uber. Before Uber, Mansoor Nirala drove a taxi. He started driving a cab at Yellow in San Francisco in 2006. He did it a few days a week. That was enough to pay the bills. When Uber showed up in 2010, a bunch of taxi drivers that he worked with immediately quit. Some of them even bought their own town cars. But not Mansoor. He thought Uber was doomed to fail.
For me, it was just like the fear of regulation. It's crazy to think that I thought that then. But back then, I was like, this won't last.
He was like one of the last holdouts.
Slowly, all these drivers from Yellow that I used to see around, I would see them driving town cars. I was like, holy shit, the fleet is being poached.
But by the fall of 2013, Uber had completely disrupted the taxi industry of San Francisco. In order to make his rent and finish paying for grad school, Mansoor had to get a new job.
The final nail in my taxi driving coffin was when I had to pay out of my pocket for a day's work. I didn't make any money. I actually had to go to the ATM and withdraw money to pay my gate.
Uber offered financing to people like Mansoor, people who wanted to work for Uber but didn't own a car. So he went to the Uber lot and picked out a $19,000 Toyota Corolla. But the terms were terrible. Predatory.
And I was like, I don't think I'm going to do this. And I just like walked out and got on the train and was like, I was like confused. I was like, this is like a 27% interest loan that I was going to be getting. And it was going to be deducted directly from my earnings. And so I went to Hertz Rent-A-Car and bought the cheapest car